the sausage cheese. Children are fun.
Yeah,
absolutely. Especially in this stressful time.
Listen, let's settle our score because I think was it on Monday we're talking about Ho?
Yeah.
Apparently, I went on a different route. You took a different
you went
route.
through Sogakope.
Exactly.
I don't think I've ever used that route.
Oh, really?
No, I haven't. But I know the route very well.
It's a lovely route.
I've used that place to another town, but I've never used the route to Ho.
Okay.
Yeah, fully.
Kwame Agboja, what's his constituency?
Adaklu.
Yes.
Adaklu,
I went through Adaklu.
Yeah. Because you can't pay for that place, no?
Yes.
And I'm told it's a very good route.
It's a very good route, but listen.
Then another default for the region.
I observed something. Because they didn't have speed ramps, the towns are being scattered on that road.
Okay.
The residents have done their own. I mean, and it's terrible. I think that when we are constructing the roads, we should consider these things. Because if it's a smooth road, people will not stick to the speed limit when they enter into towns. They would speed. And the communities are now forced to create their own speed ramps, which is terrible. If you're driving a salon vehicle, a low vehicle, you would suffer.
You'll be hitting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
and it makes the driving experience very terrible because the road will be good and you have to just keep.
So it's longer. The road is long compared to the one that you use, even though what you use was
compared
terrible.
Compared to the Akosombo Adomi.
Exactly.
Okay.
But it's even longer now because of what they've done on the road.
Right.
Yeah. But it's beautiful. Like, you should reuse it. I can't believe you haven't used it before.
I will.
So this is from Sogakope.
Maybe the beginning of by the end of the
It's lovely. Like, you can even stop and take a long walk. Oh my God. Listen. We're in COVID.
I'm surprised that you are now seeing the beauty of traveling to mountainous areas and things.
No, I know that already. I just had not been to Ho.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that already.
Joseph is joining us. That's your
my son, Joseph Akable. Is he on?
I'm surprised when you say Joseph is your son. He's so stubborn. Keeps saying, and he's not a reflection of the training you usually would give a son.
You don't know him like I do.
Joseph, good morning.
Good morning. Quick question. I was paying attention to the score, so I'm not clear in my mind who won. Mama V or Roland, who was right about the location of who and what the town before who won that one?
Oh, I don't know if it was the winner.
It depended on the route.
No, but Roland, no, I think maybe I won because the way Roland spoke to me on Monday, he made it sound like it was just one route, and I was also confused, so I couldn't defend myself because I couldn't readily give the names of the towns that I passed through. You get it?
What a bias assessment.
I see. Mama V is the winner.
Yeah, but you should go to Ho. Joseph, drive to Ho. Yeah.
I will.
Go to Ho and
so
enjoy.
Joseph, you're doing which of the papers?
I have the Daily Guide and the Daily Dispatch.
Okay.
Well, I'll start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. I've got the Ghanaian Times as well and the Finder. So let's start with the Daily Graphic. Front page, well, a scene from Kanishi, but it's actually very common, especially now that it's raining. Death traps worsen at Kanishi. I bet it's worsening in many other parts as well. Major roads with terrible potholes. President's public pay tribute to Sir John. And the tribute, people are just remembering a man who was just as he appeared, inside out. Apparently, people who really know him have been talking about him. EC to conduct special registration exercise is for students and prisoners. So the Electoral Commission on the front page says it will roll out a special program under the mass voters registration exercise to register qualified senior high school students currently in school and inmates of prison establishment. Director of Electoral Services at the Commission, Dr. Srebo Kwako, who disclosed this, said a tentative date for that special registration exercise will be announced in the coming days. Ghana Airports gets strategic partner. It's also another headline. The paper today. Let's pay attention to what's in the center spread. Project to integrate database on infrastructure launched. President Akufo-Addo tours 5 registration centers. We brought you that in our news. Japan, Ghana signed $7.9 million agreements. And then on the back page, KMA Bloomberg collaborate to curb road accidents, and World Vision support 2 assemblies in COVID-19 fights. The 2 headlines on the back page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. We can follow up with the Finder newspaper before I do the Times. So here we go with the Finder. Nanator Centers urges registrants to observe COVID-19 safety protocols, except that as we captured it in our news, those who were cheering him on, those who had seen him and were surprised, were totally not observing the protocols. Sir John's demise, Ghana has lost an asset, according to the New Patriotic Party, the party that he belonged. Social distancing protocols adhered to as registration continues. Not exactly the case in every part. The Ghanaian Times, finally for me, 794 prisoners granted amnesty as government decongest various prisons nationwide to prevent COVID-19 spread. National Tribute slapped with 2.3 million Ghana cedis fine for defamation. Okay, we'll see what the story is about, really. President pays unannounced visit to 5 voter registration centers in Accra, and then tributes pour in for Sir John as president, vice president, party, others mourn him. On the back page, phase 2 of Tema Motorway Interchange Project takes off in September. That reminds me. So the first time I used the interchange as it's been done was obviously when I was going to Hull, right? And I just said to myself, but the people who want to take the credit, they don't even pay tax, do they?
Keep wondering.
Massa, it is our tax. Sanitation Ministry holds a sensitization workshop at WA for stakeholders. The 2 stories on the back page of the paper. Yeah. So you know the story on the front page that I said would get a bit of details when we are done. We will go to the story about the Cape Coast High Court awarding some 2.3 million Ghana cedis in damages. Against what exactly? I'll tell you the details. Roland or Joseph?
Yeah, Joseph. Joseph has the Daily Guide and the Dispatch. Joe.
Yes, so let's start with that of the Daily Guide first. The front page has the photograph of Sir John. It says, People's General, Sir John, dead. And we can't name COVID-19 patients. That's according to the Ghana Health Service. And Togolese nabbed for voters card, also on the front page. Nanator's voters registration centers, also another story on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. There's some sports story in the paper itself, not talking about the Black Stars, and we've been cheated by John Painsil as well. We can do the Daily Dispatch, the front page of that newspaper. It says 48% Ghanaians vote based on party manifesto, ethnicity 4%. Okay, that's quite an interesting one. Voters register EC to distribute checks to applicants to control crowd, also on the front page of the Daily Dispatch this morning. Roland and Mamavi.
Well, let me do the custodian. Has on the front page, Ekufuado, Baumia, MPP grieve over Sir John Meso, rest in peace. Very nice, man. Very affable. President tours, voter registration centers were told that went to 5 unannounced. That's a good one. I'm surprised. He went unannounced, but still the crowds were all, yeah, I kept wondering within the period of social distancing and all, but you know, it's not the president's fault, is it? The Ghanaian Times has on the front page, the Ghanaian Observer. Ghanaian Observer has on the front page, Ekufuado storms voter registration centers in Accra, urges EC officials to maintain safety protocols. Tributes flow in as nation mourns Sir John. And then we do have Moses also on the front page of the Ghanaian Observer. Former President Jerry John Rawlings. I said Moses because that's how the whites, the Hollywood people portray Moses in those movies. When Moses was in the middle of the Red Sea and uses Poma. But it said JJ backs military deployment at border town, says Ghana faces real threat of terrorism. Now a couple of stories also on the back page, but let me just look at the Statesman. Has on the front page, don't ignore safety protocols as the Daily Statesman. Information Minister, reintroduction of COVID-19 restrictions possible. and this was at a briefing on Thursday. Ghana Monse John, and they have the Electoral Commission educating us with what needs to be done, even though it's not enforced largely in other registration centers. What needs to be done here? So we have it on paper. Now we need it on
It's
the
just
ground.
like we have many other things on paper.
Yeah,
That one there, yeah.
Okay, I'm done. Joseph, what's your pick?
I think I am curious about the story Mama V spoke about, the punitive damages, the damages being awarded in the Cape Coast High Court. If she could tell us about that story, it's quite interesting.
Absolutely. It's actually related to defamation. So this is a Tribute newspaper. That's the name of the paper. That
Tribune.
Tributes. So 2.3 million Ghana cedis in damages against the National Tribute newspaper for defaming the Vice Chancellor and Director of Development of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Joseph Garte Ampia. The Vice Chancellor and Mr. Philip Intim Owusu brought the action against the newspaper for defamatory publications against them. So they named the plaintiffs here. The newspaper, in its issue of June 21, 2018 and July 12, 2018, respectively, published the story's headline, UC, VC, others hot over dubious deals as BNI starts investigation and VC and others in more trouble. So the story sought to suggest, according to what is written here, that the Vice Chancellor and his colleague were engaged in wrongdoing by awarding ICT-related contracts and appointments of staff of the university. The defendants also stated that the appointment of the Director of Development was not based on merit. So basically related to what the newspaper wrote and how that was apparently untrue, that the court has dealt with. So 2.3 million Ghana cedis, that's a lot of money though. I don't know how they are going to manage with this, 2.3. And I haven't even heard the National Tribute before. Anybody has?
National Tribute, no.
Yes,
and I'm not sure.
Tribute
And I'm not sure, Joseph. I'm not sure they can pay this, right? Based on based on the laws of the regulation, the Companies Act. I mean, they can just go into some bankruptcy or insolvency. Then they are off the books.
Is that what you're saying?
It's a lost cause, I swear.
But I think I mean this is the second defamation story that is coming up in recent times.
Yeah, following the famous one.
Days back, yeah, the Kere Japan one also came out. I mean, I think that the point needs to be made from these stories that the courts are always there to vindicate people, and so when we decide to say things about other people when we don't have the evidence supporting it, or we don't have the evidence that we can submit to back our claims, and they decide to take action against us, we'll obviously be in trouble. I guess that's the lesson in these two matters.
How much was the Ken Kwekubako one? What was the figure? Has it been
That's
settled?
130,000 cedis.
Okay, that's way less than this. This is
100 to 100,000 for as the damages to him, and 30,000 for the cost of legal fees.
Oh, that's chicken feed.
Has it been paid?
We don't know yet.
That's chicken feed for Mama V's friend.
That money to charity.
Chicken feed.
I think I've heard that. I've heard somebody say exactly what you said.
That's
before.
chicken feed. Oh, no way, I think the judge was very reasonable in that case because knew that Charlie, I have to peg it at a pricing that the person will be willing to pay. And I know that the Honourable Member of Parliament for Asin Central, the Honourable can... Japan will pay.
Joseph, you are.
He has how many houses? 189. What did
I
he
don't
take?
remember.
Oh, 47. You can't remember. 147.
It's
That's what
all
you
in the
said.
interview. Go back
I can remember.
Go back
147.
Go back to our
147. I've watched the interview several times. I love that interview. 147 houses, 22 children.
What are you saying here?
I'm telling you.
Joseph, I was saying that you do the court rounds. Has it been settled?
No, this one or the older.
Oh, Rolanda.
I don't know whether it's been paid, but the last time it came up on Saturday, Mr. Bako said he intends to give the money to charity. And so, I mean,
Charlie,
can't we all join the charity?
Yeah,
Can we all be
no,
charity?
I think I'm part. I'm part. Because I haven't been able to buy my zinc taps and all that during this corona period. I'm part.
That's for Roland.
Charlie, but on a more serious issue, the concern that has been raised and the outrage that has met the member of parliament for my constituency, Tema West.
And there's no Carlos?
Yeah, Carlos Ahinkra. Knowing that he's tested positive and still went around to registration centers, before then had also participated in other events. I think that that's abhorrent, and then also should be criticized as much as it has been. I don't know what the two of you think, but I'm sure.
You know, initially I thought he had done the testing and he was waiting for the results, because many of us did the testing, we're still coming to work. But I had to check again. I was like, did he actually confirm that he had tested positive and still went around? Or he had recovered? He had gone through the period where he could be discharged before. And I was like, isn't that careless?
I mean, this is an act of carelessness.
And the justification is that he took precautions, like he did the necessary things. But that doesn't matter.
Have you watched some of the videos?
No.
Of him hugging people after the primaries?
Yes, I have. So even at that point, he had tested positive and he had not gone through the period where he could be discharged.
I mean,
maybe Joseph, you may have some background information here. I'm not sure Joseph heard that.
I think I listened to the interview he granted on the Constitution on Asempa. And I mean, I was really shocked to hear that admission that, and his explanation was that once he knew his status, he thought he knows how to now conduct himself not to infect others. I mean, we have seen people who are at the isolation centers. I saw the videos that Gary put out on his social media handle, our colleague Gary Al Smith. And they are people who go and visit the persons who are receiving treatment. They are not allowed to go any close to them. They are kept at a distance, far away. And I'm wondering how anyone could think that testing positive means that you can actually step out and go out there. I mean, we know the law that we passed relating to the restrictions. One of the requirements, one of the things it sought to control is that we can restrict your movement if we feel that, I mean, it's not safe for others. And that is why people who have been earlier in the period of management of the cases, when people were running away from the centers, we're sending the military after them. Questions need to be asked of the Ghana Health Service. What is the protocol? How does the person even get out of the facility in the first place? Because that individual is obviously a threat to those he'll be coming into contact with, and why would they allow him to step out? There are questions that we need to ask of the Ghana Health Service, and we need some answers as to the protocol, what it was at the facilities, and why it was breached, who decided to allow him to go out, then the risk he has caused. And obviously, as a public official, the government has been advising people to isolate and do all those things. I mean, government needs to take a very serious view on the conduct of its appointee.
It just makes useless everything else that we've heard, because if somebody is breaking it, and this is like a high-profile person, and he's doing it, I mean, like that in the open, like, you know.
Yeah, because
how do you tell others? How do you tell us to do the right thing?
You know, at the briefing on Thursday, Joseph Akable asked a critical question, and the response of the Ghana Health Service Director General, Dr. Patrick Abwaji, and also related to other questions, was that if you have your sample taken and you're waiting for your result, it means that you have to self-isolate.
Yes.
Yeah. They didn't say that don't work, don't do whatever, but they say self-isolate.
This is even when the results, you're waiting for the results. You haven't seen the results.
And already we know that we're in a certain state in which, because of the absence of materials for testing, it's delaying. I have had interactions, you also have had, and we have the information that's indicating that the results will keep delaying until we have the materials to test. And Joseph was at that news conference yesterday.
And so Mr. Carlos Ahinkra says he didn't want people to speculate on his absence at the start of the voter registration exercise. That's why he got out. Like,
I don't understand him.
What kind of excuse is this? So even though he knew his status, he
Your
decided to
absence.
still just go out there.
You have COVID-19 and you are staying away from people. Why are you worried or speculate?
So did he tell everybody, that all the people who came into contact with him, you guys have tested positive, if you still want to come close to me, do? Did he announce that? Did he tell people? Did they know?
He didn't. He actually claims that if we watch the videos, we realize that his hands were behind him when he was talking. So he tried not to come into contact a lot with people and knew how to keep himself safe and everything. I mean,
shouldn't people sue or something like that? I mean, can't we take this to the extreme for exposing many others
but I think
to a public
it's only people
health?
like you and Joseph who will win that case. Seriously.
Listen,
The big men, no.
No, I think what is unfortunate is because the people were obviously his people, they wouldn't think of what we are saying. But for the sake of public health, and if we want to respect what we have said, and this is like a top person. I mean, how does this happen? And we haven't heard, following this disclosure, we haven't heard anything from any quote-unquote top person condemn his actions, right?
No,
maybe somebody has.
None. I've seen some defense on Facebook.
It's just a story that I just saw on Ghana Web a short while ago. Yeah, Roland, I saw a story on Ghana Web a short while ago, and the story says they claim, according to sources, that the presidency has asked him to resign or get fired. We've not been able to confirm that story.
No,
so we are still looking forward to that. But obviously, there needs to be some formal communication from the Ghana Health Service, the National COVID-19 Response Team, and government for that matter, the presidency to be specific. That appointed.
Well, I don't think he has to resign or get fired, but I think that it's just a pure act of irresponsibility on his part.
He's not even accepting that. What are you talking about?
That's the sad part of it. Yeah, it's
not even accepting that. So it was after that how he went to Kolebu. I don't get it. Anyway, we have to do my John line.
Quite worrying is that he said he actually shared a room with Sir John.
Yes.
He actually saw Sir John die. I mean,
yes,
it's difficult to reconcile those two facts. You encounter this and you're able to, like, I really beats my mind.
I heard that bit when he was talking to Obi yesterday about the Sir John Favre. He shared a room even with the campaign manager, Peter McMahon. Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll have time and come back and deal with all these matters. But we have to do myjoyonline.com before we make way for sports, Roland.
Yeah, and we have it. MyJoyOnline.com has a number of stories, and the main story on the page
that's what we've been talking about.
Is about our good friend this one who is trending. Yeah. Deputy Trade Minister visited voter registration centers knowing he had tested positive for COVID-19. I don't know. Nice man too. I don't know why he do so.
Roland, you are saying it like he regrets.
No, you no regret. You know the regret. The man self he say, "Oh, Charlie, you know say they in control." Charlie, go up. Minority also criticizes the EC for failing to put in place COVID-19 safety protocols. I've seen some cards that the EC has been sharing, and the date of birth, or even the laminated cards, basa 200 million. 3 NDC Aswase branch executives arrested over illegal possession of registration for, and this one, you know, I thought and I know that the Electoral Commission says in order to ease the registration process, you can print the Form 1A. So if and throughout this communication, the parties have been told that they should help, or the parties themselves mobilize, okay, people to go and vote. So if we know that they are supposed to, so I can have a bunch of forms. It doesn't mean that I intend going to, but I'm not saying that's the case to this. But I'm just saying that if we have anybody holding registration forms, it doesn't mean that person has done wrong.
It's because we're not using our heads.
Yeah, because I can print 20 forms.
I saw that
and go and give to my family people to go and register.
So Maxwell on Legon campus, a gentleman was arrested. Police was not even saying why he had arrested him. They just grabbed him and put him in the car.
Yeah, because he was causing some confusion, Maxwell said.
So that's why he arrested him.
Yeah.
So did he inform him why he was taking him away?
Well, you need to know your rights first. So once he didn't know his rights.
You know, like we're acting like this is like one lawless country, you know, and anybody who is either in uniform who looks like he's in a place of authority could do anything to you. And it's just,
you know what? I think one day you need to be arrested and you sue big. Only that by the time you sue big, because the way you've been talking, no police go hijack you. Unfortunately, they won't arrest you. That's the problem. Joseph, take us for a break.
Oh my God. Is Joseph still with us?
Roland Walker, I'm right here. I guess Benedict will be joining us for the latest in sports. Yesterday, Liverpool, the team was humiliated after receiving a guard of honor.
Thank you. Thank you.
You have the details there.
Yeah, some champions we have right there.
I'm not a Liverpool fan, but
they were hammered. You should have said that. Benedict will give you a playback of it. They said they don't walk alone. And Luponi, stay with us.